Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Larkin, one half of the S&M Show podcast, and I'm back today with another interview. Got a treat for you guys today. Very excited to have this person on. I'm on with adult star, the very talented, the absolutely beautiful Miss Alura Jenson. Alura, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be on your show. Thank you so much. I love your work.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know what it is, too? What I love about this, and I've said this many times to my listeners, Steve Nicoforo, shout out to my homie Steve. We do our great stuff with S&M Show podcast. You guys get to hear great interviews such as this that we're going to be doing today. There's music talk, there's wrestling talk, there's MMA talk, there's pretty much everything out the wazoo, a plethora of topics, and we're going to get into a lot of great topics here on the show today. Laura, we're going to talk about your career in the adult industry. We're going to talk about AVN Awards, nomination for MILF of the Year, which I will say right now, I definitely voted for you. And a shout, absolutely, yes. And so, yeah, we're going to have a fun conversation. So I'll start it off with this question right here. What was life like for you before you got into the adult industry? And what was the year that you actually got into the adult industry? What was like the first film or scene that you did?
What was my life like before the industry?
Yeah, like what was it that, as far as like life goes before the industry, what was it like that you were doing and what made you decide to get into the adult industry?
Oh, wow. That's actually probably one of the most fascinating stories I think any porn star is ever going to tell. My life before I started making movies was extremely frustrating. It was very organized. I had a government job. I was in the military, active duty, and I was very, very unhappy. My sexual habits got me into a lot of trouble. This was before the laws changed and before, bisexuality, homosexuality, polyamory, before these things were legally not punished by law. I mean, they still kind of are, but being gay or being bisexual isn't a crime anymore. And back then, it got me into a lot of trouble, and I was suffocated. I was very, very unhappy. I was very good at my job, but I was very unhappy. And when I decided to leave the military after 12 years, I just started dancing because I wanted to do something that made me happy. So I started stripping for a living. I could have been happier at that point. But that wasn't quite enough for me because the excitement from dancing, from watching men get aroused, watching women get aroused with their husbands, or just lesbians coming in and getting dances from me, I developed a bit of a dangerous sexual habit. I don't know. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to say anything that's going to have me thrown in jail, but I wound up experiencing many, if not most, of the customers that got private dances from me. I couldn't help myself. I really couldn't. And one of my agents, his name is JC from AC Modeling, he came into my club one night and he saw me and he came right up to me and offered me a contract. Just bam, just like that. It was crazy. Wow. And because I was in the middle of navigating and managing a very bad sexual appetite, I said, yeah, sure. You mean I can have sex with strangers and not go to jail? That's awesome. Let's do that.
And it's so crazy because, I mean, you've really become such like a hit in the adult industry. I mean, you're doing your thing. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you've done the thing with the AVN Awards. You're nominated for MILF of the Year. You've been in so many. And what I also like about you is you work with pretty much everybody. I mean, whether it be males, females, transgender. And that's what's great about it. You got a positive outlook. You're very open-minded.
I can understand and I respect why everyone has a preference. I do. And there are some women that do not work with crossover males. There are some men that do not work with trans women. There are some women that don't work with males. I mean, everybody has a right to decide what they will and will not do for their body. And there's not a damn thing wrong with that. And what happened in recent events was very, very unfortunate. It could have been handled a lot differently by all parties involved, and what I want is to experience all of the sex that the world has to offer because I'm a sick, twisted fuck, and if it's interesting and it's legal and it's safe, I'm going to do it. That's about right.
And I think it's like, if you want to use like a reference here, music analogy, to quote the late great George Michael, sex is natural, sex is good, not everybody does it, but everybody should. Sex is natural, sex is fun, sex is best when it's one-on-one. So, I mean, there you go.
It is. And, you know, there are stigmas left and right. I mean, and I totally respect that. I do. But the protocols that keep us safe are universal across the board for everyone. So if someone is screened and they're tested and they're documented, you know, they're just as safe as, say, someone of, you know, someone's more restricted sexual preference. So I don't mind working with someone who has a fresh touch. I'll do it all. I mean, oh my gosh, my dream come true was to be a completely bisexual orgy where I'm in the center of a room and I am just directing how everybody's fucking and how it's all going to happen. But nobody's allowed to orgasm except for me. It's going to be fabulous.
You actually answered one of my next questions. I'm like, did you have like any preferences as far as scenes that you do, or you're just pretty much, you know what, whatever you hand me, I'll take it and I'll run with it. I'll just go with it. I'll do everything.
You know, I do have a preference. I do, and it might not be what people or fans expect. I will not work with someone who has a shitty attitude. I will not work with someone who perpetuates hate of any kind. That could be any gender, any orientation, any race, any age. If someone's an asshole in public or has to perpetuate some sort of bitchy attitude to their fans in order to be popular, I won't work with that person. I only work with cool people. Because in the end, my fans aren't going to want to see some shithead, you know, fake getting it on while I'm trying to produce a decent product.
Absolutely. I think that's how you got to be. You got to just go in there and just be business. I've always said this. What's always about me is, I mean, I was raised by women. I mean, my mother and my grandmother, God rest her soul, you know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. So they always taught me, you know, treat others the way you wanted to be treated. You know, my grandfather, God rest his soul. I always had that in me because the thing is, I got my New York in me, but I also got my down south, you know, Southern hospitality. The Carolinas,
So you're crazy and you can cook.
Well, yeah, there you go. So I got the Carolinas in my soul as well, because just going down there, Myrtle Beach and Charlotte, North Carolina, just all around there, just visiting my aunts and uncles. I have that discipline, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and I think, and the problem is, do you see that today? Like, there's hardly like, we live in a world where there's like a lot of entitlement, and there's a lot of negative energy. I'm like, you got to inject some positivity in this world.
Get me started about that. Oh my God. Oh Lord have mercy. Yes. We live in a society where people think someone fucking owes them something, and everybody's got to bow down to this bullshit political correctness when, you know, they should just be minding their own business and worried about what makes them personally happy and stop stepping feet into other people's, you know, areas of happiness.
Exactly. And another thing that I'll say to you is, because I've watched some of your stuff on YouTube. I mean, I remember I did see you actually spoke at a college, and you were talking about like socialism and many topics, and you actually talked about your career. I'm listening to you. It's just, I did enjoy that conversation, because, you know, you're talking to the college students, you're giving them, you know, life lessons, and then I see you at AdultCon, which I'm going to get into, and I mean, you're always so lively, and you got the smile on your face. You're just always so positive. That's why I love about you.
You know, I appreciate that. And it took me until I decided to do in life what made me happy to have that smile on my face. I speak at colleges often. I do a lot of charity work with, you know, women or men who have been in abusive relationships. I also do a lot of work with people who are having gender confusion, or those with trouble, you know, coming to terms with their orientation, and, you know, just basically young adults who are coming into their own, who haven't quite found their ability to say, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, well, go to hell, you know. And I didn't have that confidence until I stopped caring what people thought about me.
Exactly. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, when I was a kid, going through school, you know, everybody gets bullied, everybody gets picked on. But, you know, there's that certain point where you have to have what I call the LOA, the level of acceptance. You know, you want to fit in with people. But after a while, you know, as you mature and you look at just life, you just got to be, you know what, you got to take that look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm happy with who I am. And, you know, F everybody else and just do you. Yeah,
I wish it happened for me that early. I do. mercilessly bullied. And when I mean bullied, I mean I was physically beat up on a very regular basis by boys and girls. So everybody was just kicking my ass because I was just this goofy looking, chick. And then when I turned 15 and a half, I won't ever forget it. My whole life, I remember it clear as day. A beautiful, beautiful black man that I went to school with, he mentioned to his friends who were of all races, said, now there's a woman with a body. And I turned around and I thought they were making fun of me because everybody had at that point. And I said, oh, so maybe I'm not this disgusting, this disgusting turnoff to the world like I've been made to believe. But my real self-acceptance didn't come until I was able to live the way that I wanted to live, which meant enjoying my sexual life the way that I wanted to. And that's what I really strive to teach to the public through the movies that I make is do what makes you happy. If you want to enjoy a gorgeous trans woman and you're a straight male, then fucking enjoy a trans woman. If you're a trans woman and you want to enjoy a cis female, knock that shit out of the park. There's nothing wrong with what a person does in their bedroom because it's nobody's business but yours.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing that I'll say about this is I actually did write this down in my notes. I talked to my friends about plus size modeling, and the reason why I mention that is because women come in all different shapes and sizes. When I was a kid, exactly so. I love women. I've always, I don't care what they are, whether it be, skinny or, as the term, which we look in the adult industry, the BB dubs, the big, beautiful women. I love them all. You know what I'm saying? I really do not mind that. And I think you're a testament to that. You're an absolutely beautiful woman. And the thing is, you look at the plus size industry. I mean, those girls are kicking butt. I mean, you look at Ashley Graham as a top model in the plus size modeling industry. I always compare this also to wrestling because there's a WWE wrestler by the name of Nia Jax that a lot of people are familiar with. She's actually the cousin of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, this girl, for her size, for her size, she's athletic. She goes in there, she dominates. She's not afraid to be who she is. I mean, that's very empowering and inspiring for all young women out there.
Dwayne Johnson, if I wasn't already happily with someone, I would make a beeline for that man's heritage. Good for her. I agree. And one of the things I'm most proud of is when women, married women, girlfriends, or even husbands, boyfriends, when they write to me, and they do on a regular basis to tell me that because I've had children, and you can see that, I have a scar, I have, a few marks on me here and there, but because my attitude is uplifting to them, they have learned to feel sexy with their life experience amounts on their bodies, like women who have the tummies or stretch marks or, maybe a little loose skin on their thighs or something. And they learn that, hey, men don't care. They don't care about that. A vagina is a vagina, and if it says yes to a penis, then everybody's a happy customer, right?
Correct.
But they really enjoy the fact that someone of my size, and I am a plus size woman, no matter how much weight I gain or lose, I'm always going to be plus size. And it's possible to be elegant, to be sexy. A woman, in order to be sexually attractive, doesn't have to act like a skank. To say, hey, look at me, I'm sexually available, that she can be upscale and beautiful to her lover or to whoever she's, trying to choose at that moment. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And it's so funny. The reason why I also bring up Nia Jax is because Nia actually, this was like months ago, she did a Talk is Jericho, Chris Jericho's podcast. So it's so funny because if you watch, what they do each and every week on Raw, there was a time period where like the only girl that when you look at WWE, they hardly announce the girls' weights. They just announce, where they're from and who they are. And when you look at the ring announcements, they actually would say her weight because she was like 262 pounds. But you look at her and she's just phenomenal because she's done plus size modeling back in the day. And she's even admitted, she's like, I'm a big bitch, but hey, I am who I am. You either love me or hate me.
And I dig that. I'm not ashamed of my weight. I once last year, and I made a big deal about my weight loss this year because it was a lot of hard work, but I'm still a big girl. I'm cool, right? I started out last year, I believe I was at 220. Now I'm 5'8", and I've got breast implants, so that's considerable amount of my weight. But right now I'm back down to 175, so I've lost a shit ton of weight. But I understand. No woman wants the world to know that her weight is, especially if she's getting judged on it, and if her ability to make a living is decided by the number on the scale.
Exactly. And I will say this as well. This actually made headlines. We actually talked about this on the S&M Show podcast. And I'm not going to lie, there was like 50-50 of me that was kind of, me being the wrestling fan. And because I've had the great chance to work with all these guys and gals in the professional wrestling world and have them on the show here. But the thing is that what I look at it is, because this particular individual that was involved, because it involves both the adult industry and correlates to what we see in the professional wrestling world. So Mia Khalifa came out. She made the statement because Ronda Rousey, who's big in MMA, and she's just a tremendous fighter. She's actually
I love her.
Exactly, and she's going to be going. Where it looks like we're going to see her get a WWE run. She's going to transition to the wrestling.
Are you serious?
Yes, it looks like she's going to WWE very soon.
Whoa! I stopped watching WWE because my work hours and my schedule is like insane nuts. But I will start watching again if she does that.
And it's so awesome because I'll tell you this, Alura, because they have their NXT brand, which is actually a show that's based on their WWE network. A lot of great talents that are up and coming on there as well. One of them is actually Shayna Baszler, who was actually an MMA fighter of her own, and she was actually one of Ronda Rousey's, what they call the MMA Four Horsewomen. So she's actually buds with Ronda Rousey and, the wrestling world, the MMA world. It has a nice little tie-in there.
Oh my God, that is incredible! I didn't know that. Man, you just made my day.
You're welcome. So the news that did come out, Alura, was so Mia Khalifa made the comment, and this actually was on Twitter, so everybody could go check it out if they want. She made the comment of, "Oh, Ronda Rousey's going to WWE. How embarrassing that she wants to do that. If you want to end your career there." So Gregory Shane Helms, who wrestling fans may remember as the Hurricane, stand back. There's a hurricane. Yes. So he made the tweet and he said, "You know what? Why do I really care what a porn star has to say?" And he pretty much would go on to say that our bodies, we take a beating and we take a pounding, and so does hers. So that was his retort and his reply to Mia Khalifa, and actually started up a stir in that. And Natalie Eva Marie, who has actually been on Total Divas, that reality show that you see with all the WWE girls, she was on there and she actually defended. She's like, "You know what? I've been in the ring. I may not be the greatest of professional wrestlers, and I'm not going to lie. She was a little but God bless her for getting in the ring and taking the bumps because that's dedication. Yeah. That's dedication.
It is dedication, and what I had to say to that very negative attitude. Who the fuck is she to tell anybody what to do with their personal lives or their bank account? If such and such person, I'm not going to say that name because that would be impolite of me. Who the fuck is anybody to tell Ronda Rousey where she should and should not make a living? You don't know how much money those WWE women or men make and what they have to go through to get that paycheck. She can go fuck herself as far as I'm concerned. Good for Ronda. Good for you, Ronda. I'm telling you right now, good for you.
Exactly, and I mean, they were on the talk show, even Maria was telling you about, who defended it. And Maria's like, "Oh, I'm actually going to go to an event, maybe I'll have a different opinion about it," which is like good, because maybe you'll open up your mind and possibly, not be so closed-minded, not judge people and cast aspersions on what they want to do. Like, who are you? I've always been, I'm very spiritual, only God can judge, but man, like really,
right.
and it fired me up, and I'm like, who the fuck are you?
But see, that's reminiscent of what you talked about earlier in this interview about people feeling entitled and feeling, that other folks should bow down to what, one's individual preferences, and that's just not the case. How about that unfortunate individual mind her own goddamn business and let Vaughn do what makes her happy? Who is she to tell her what she should and shouldn't do?
Exactly. That was the point. I'm glad I asked you about this because I wanted to get someone who's actually in the adult industry's, opinion about this. And I mean, this girl's, I don't know how long she's been in. I know she's 24, and I think she's only been in for like a couple of years. But you've had a mainstay in the industry, so I definitely wanted to get your opinion on that, Laura. Now, speaking of your years in the industry, I got to ask you, what was the year that you actually got into the adult industry, and memories of your first film or scene that you were in?
Oh God, I remember the days, the times, all of it. It was December 11th, 2011.
Wow.
It was my very first scene was shooting for the largest porn company in the world, which was Brazzers, Manwin and Brazzers, and they were the first people to approach me for a scene, and it was a Christmas scene with Lucas Stone, who is who's taking some time off, to be with his family right now, and I hope he comes back. But it was the most incredibly painful scene I've ever performed to date, and I've been in the industry nearly 6.5 years. Oh my God, he was such a wonderful, wonderful co-star. But I had not had in my life up until that point a massive male anatomy in my body at such an intensity and such a speed and in certain positions. I was brand new to the shit, and I was thinking, I'm going to die. And the funniest part about it is that Brazzers held on to that scene for 3 years before publishing it. I always wondered why.
Yeah, and I mean, because I've seen your work. I mean, I know you've done Brazzers. I know you've done some Naughty America. I remember My First Sex Teacher was one that you did. I know you did a scene for My Friend's Hot Mom. I still remember the scene that you did. I know you've done one with Mother-in-Law, as you were like the mother-in-law, and then there was a role play, a couple scenes with that. I still remember the one where you're the stepmom, and the kids play. And the scene is like the kids playing the video games, and it's like, why don't you come out? And you're running, and you're doing your fitness, you're trying to work them out, and then you guys come back, and then you do your scene there on the stairs, and just that whole night.
Oh God. that oh my God, that was all improv. They allowed me to do that myself. Like, sometimes when we have when working for certain companies, that was a Brazzers scene, by the way. You got
nice.
In case you want to know what that is. Oh my God. But once the lines are all spoken, they allow me and my co-star to design the sex positions if they're interesting enough and they don't have to intervene. And some of that shit was downright gymnastic. Like, oh my God. That's not how people have sex, you guys.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, absolutely, Brazzers, Naughty America, Vivid, and I've always said this, as far as the adult industry goes, I mean, if people want to get into it, God bless them. I know there's that negative stereotype, but I mean, these companies make a lot of money, and they've produced a lot of films. I mean, I remember a time when the porn parodies were a big thing. I mean, there was a porn parody for everything. There was one for the Brady Bunch. There was one for, like, Sheep. Oh, my God. They actually did one for SpongeBob not too long ago, which I cracked up. It was called SpongeBob Square Nuts, and I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I can't believe that's hilarious.
Oh my God! And I mean, and you know what? You also, as far as the I mentioned the Brady Bunch, there was porn parody. I mean, I think they did a tranny bunch like one. I'm like, good for them. I mean, as long as you're making money and you're happy doing what you do, God bless you.
Yeah, I would really love to see the trans industry become a lot bigger than it is, even though it's developed quite nicely. I'd like to see it more mainstream. There are a lot of trans performers, and what trans women have to go through in order to look and feel beautiful to be on camera, it's damn near a nightmare. So they should be celebrated a lot more than what the industry does already. I'd like to see a lot more awards come out for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll touch base on this as well. Alura, I remember seeing you do an interview, and you were talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, which we just had that great fight just this last year.
Oh my God.
It was tremendous. So, actually, an article came out, Alura. All right, I'm going to get to this. Alura, the article came out. Floyd Mayweather was talking about he would actually do a match in the octagon. He would get in the octagon with Conor McGregor, and I mean that would sell some tickets. That's some money right there. In the rematch in the octagon, are you kidding me?
No, I don't think so. I think fans are so tired of this shit. I don't think, and both of them are so mega rich. Why do they have to do that anyway? Unless they're donating entirely, the entirety of their proceeds to charity of some kind, I'm not going to buy a ticket.
I got you. And I mean, it's so funny because I've seen Floyd Mayweather do his stuff and again, it transitions back to the WWE because the dude got a WrestleMania payday. I mean, he fought the Big Show on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania 24 back in 2008. I mean, he's done some guest hosts. Yes. And that was a sight to see, for the Big Show just chopping him and slamming him. It was tremendous.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yes.
Do you actually think if the Big Show met Floyd Mayweather in the street that any of that would have gone down the way that it did? Come on, let's be real, people.
Absolutely.
Come on, this is all publicity stunt and for entertainment purposes. That Conor McGregor fight, with Floyd Mayweather, I was so disappointed in both people. I was really annoyed. However, I have to say this on Floyd's behalf. He donated a shit ton of money to charity from his paycheck from that fight. So I wasn't as disgusted with the turnout as I was before I found that out. He donates a lot of money to charity.
And so absolutely agreed. And it's so funny because I hear this from my wrestling peeps as well, Laura. A lot of people are like, oh, why they got to do like the celebrity involvement with the WWE? I'm like, you know what? They're fans, and if you actually book the match right, it's fine. Like not too long ago, they actually had Stephen Amell, Arrow himself, actually wrestled a match for the WWE at a SummerSlam pay-per-view, and actually was very well. You got to see his athleticism. I mean, if you even go back in the day, we had Karl Malone wrestle a match in WCW. Jay Leno was actually in WCW, and he wrestled a match. He put Hulk Hogan.
I remember that.
Yes.
That is hilarious. I don't know if you guys remember the Rocky 3 when Sylvester Stallone and Hulk Hogan did this exhibition thing. That's kind of what that all reminds me of.
Laura, do I remember that? Thunderlips is here in the flesh, baby.
Yes. A huge Rocky fan. I mean, you can ask me anything about any one of his movies, even that crappy one that nobody really liked.
I'll be honest with you, Laura, I got to say this right now. I'm so happy that you mentioned that because I was flipping through the tube the other day and Rocky 5 came on, and I was looking at Tommy Gunn. And I loved you, man.
Right.
We were supposed to be like this, Tommy. You blew it.
Oh, my. Isn't that how he got his start in show business, and that led him to the WWF? At the time, it was WWF, that contract? Isn't that what launched that?
So what happened was, I think back in the day, Hulk Hogan was doing his thing, and, he was managed by Classy Freddie Blassie when he first came in, and then he became, Hulkamania took off. But I think that actually he took a break for a while to do the Rocky film, and I think Vince McMahon was like originally first against it, but they originally brought Hulk Hogan back anyway. And then you look at fast forward to January 1984, that's where he beat the Iron Sheik, and Hulkamania was born. And then you had WrestleMania 1 with Mr. T, and then just going forward, which and it's actually going to be great to see because. Yes, I know Hulk Hogan got into that whole thing because the whole racial stuff and what came out with what he said and this and that, but honestly. We got the 25th anniversary. Exactly. And the thing is, the 25th anniversary of Raw's coming up, and you're probably going to see him come back. I mean, there's a lot of people, they're going to ban Hulk Hogan. No, they're not. You just had to get away from it. Now they'll come back to it. I mean, it is what it is, but, people do it.
You know what? If the WWEF or WWC, if they banned, every superstar who said something stupid, they wouldn't have anybody on camera. So people need to calm down.
Exactly. Everybody goes over the top with it. And I think the last really big thing that we had there, I mean, people talk about what they had. I mean, the Benoit tragedy was terrible. Chris Benoit, the double murder suicide. And I still...
That was sad.
It was. And the problem is people still like, how come Chris Benoit's not in the Hall of Fame? I'm like, but the thing is, the man murdered... I mean, I know he's a great wrestler, but the man murdered his wife and his children, and himself. I mean, how can you actually put him in the Hall of Fame? You know what I'm saying? But then people will argue the fact, because, you look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, one of the greatest fighters in the world, baddest man on the planet, what have you. The man's in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, and everybody's like, he was charged for rape. And I'm like, but... It's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was on WrestleMania 14 knocking out Shawn Michaels when he fought Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the Attitude Era. I mean, you got to celebrate.
Oh, wow, yeah. Mike Tyson wasn't just, arrested. He's a convicted felon.
Exactly.
However, Mike Tyson also came out and said, I had a really fucked up drug habit, and I did some terrible things. My drug habit is no longer an issue for my life, and I've become a better person. If that is the case, I mean, crime itself is not forgivable, but, someone becoming a better person and beating addiction in that way, that should give them a second chance to enjoy success of their present and future.
Exactly. I got to ask you, I got some more topics here, Laura. This has been a great conversation so far, so I have to ask you as well. What did you think about the Trump tweet with "my button is bigger than yours," Kim Jong-un?
I stay away from politics because politics have no business being in entertainment whatsoever. Got you,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, people talk about it. I mean, just, it is what it is. I try to stay away from it too because, people just are just too, I think it goes back to, people just being over the top and just going everything. It's like, everybody just calm down, just take a chill pill, live your life, stop. You know what I'm saying? and I think it also goes back to the millennials too. I mean, do you find that, we talk about the age of entitlement? I mean, do you think the millennials also? I mean, these millennials nowadays. I mean, I always say that I'm.
Get on my goddamn nerves.
Thank you. So I always say I'm a rare form. I always, like I said, goes back to the respect thing. But these just millennials nowadays are just out of goddamn control.
Well, I mean, and I normally would say yes. Yeah, but I mean, to blame an entire demographic for the unattractive behaviors of a few, it's unfair to the millennials who aren't a bunch of dickheads running around with, recycled sandals and shit, telling the world that they're owed everything. They're not everybody's like that. But
exactly.
For the ones who are, go fuck yourself.
It's true that. Oh my god, what was the other thing? It was so funny because, as a kid, I loved MTV, and I think just because MTV being music television, I don't know how you feel, but I look at that channel and I can I can't hardly watch anything that's on there now because it's like reality shows like Floribama Shore, which is like
it's all crap.
Exactly, it's crap. It's
all crap. I remember MTV when it first came out. I was a little girl, and it was all about music videos and showcasing musicians and bands and people who are just getting started and people who are coming out with new, exciting, entertainment, videos and shit like that. And now it's all scripted reality shows. You guys, audience members, none of those reality shows are real. I've been in the middle of reality show productions. They're all bullshit. It's not real. Why do you think the Kardashians have been on TV so long? Do you think their lives are that interesting, really? What do you think the producers and the writers have to make shit up to keep people watching? I mean, come on.
Exactly. And the thing that's so funny about it is when VH1 was cranking those out, I remember every friggin' months after months they had the Flavor of Love, the Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. I mean, the Tool Academy, for God's sake.
Right.
Yeah, just wow. It was reality showmania. Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just go ahead, Alura.
I worked with a dancer at the club where I used to work who was tasked to be on that show. She did the production of that show. She was married. She was never going to wind up the contestant who landed, Bret Michaels. She's a married woman. They had married women just because of the way that they looked and their personality on camera. All those reality shows are bullshit.
And what got me about that show was, because there was actually I think there were 3 seasons of it. So it was, they're in the house for the first 2 seasons, but once you get to the 3rd season of Laura, they did the Rock of Love tour bus where they're all on his bus, and they're going from city to city because he was starting. I'm like, come the fuck on. Really?
Really, guys, come on. Did anybody actually buy that?
Exactly. Just God damn. And I'm sorry, but it's just, it was just, looking back at it, because it pissed me off, because Valentine's Day, I'll say this right now, one of the most romantic times of the year, but damn it, VH1, you had to play marathon after marathon of Flavor of Love and the Rock of Love, and I Love New York. And I'm like, come on, for Valentine's Day. That's all I gotta say.
I met him one time.
Did you?
He was playing at a casino. He was playing at the Excalibur in Las Vegas, and he was in public form, in character with the costume that he wears. I don't even know if he's really like that in real life. The guy didn't tip one waitress, didn't tip the dealers, he made so much money on the tables, and he didn't give the cocktail waitress a dime. I was like, wow, dude, you're a real class act.
So, first and foremost, Alura, I love you, because this brings me to another fun story here. So, my mom...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Back.
Exactly. So my mom used to work at the Westbury Music Fair out here on Long Island. Big theater, had so many great comedians there, such great artists. You go look at old school like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and just a lot of great groups there. They did some hip hop groups as well. But it's a big of 3, and it's had so many name changes. It was the Westbury Music Fair, the North Fork Theater at Westbury, the theater at Westbury. It was names out the wazoo. So the point is, Bret Michaels actually was at the Westbury Music Fair, and the funny story about him was he made these people wait because he had to be on his damn tour bus doing God knows what. So he made these people wait I don't even know how long, just because he had to do whatever the fuck he was doing on his tour bus. He was just
because he's so goddamn important. He couldn't accommodate them with something like a message or hey guys, I'm stuck in a meeting, or I'll be right with you. Well, please enjoy music, or He didn't accommodate them in any way?
From what I remember, I think he was just, look at me, I'm going to stay on my bus for a little bit, and just nothing, just fucking look.
That's rude.
It is. It was freaking rude out the wazoo, and I mean, friggin', what always cracked me up is, for those that remember the first season of Rock of Love, there was that chick Lacey who was like in love with PETA, and she had the red hair. and she gets up to Bret Michaels and starts singing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" in the chorus, and I'm like,
oh my god,
stop it right now. That was the only.
Oh my god, I thought he could even sing that song right now if he wanted to.
And I used to look, and I love my dad so much, but when I was a kid, I remember going into his car, and I looked at my peripheral, because he had like a couple rock CDs, because my dad used to love like Kiss, and like all these great bands too, but I look in the... Oh yeah! So I look in the corner, and I see a Poison seed, and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dad? And I'm just like, oh, Poison. Just the Poison. And don't get me wrong, Poison had some hits, but just Bret Michaels always annoyed me is the bottom line of the story here, just because of that reality show, the rudeness, and it's like, again, back to the entitlement shit.
Poison was never Guns N' Roses.
It was not. Oh my god, Guns N' Roses.
Just want to make that clear.
Exactly. One of my favorite movies is Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. Have you ever seen Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman? It came out in like 1989.
I'm American, of course I have.
Okay. All right, because I'm just saying, a lot of people tend to forget about that movie, because that was one of Morgan Freeman's best movies. I mean, Principal Joe Clark, Free Mr. Clark, Fair East Side, and I mean, the opening of that movie is, it shows how bad the school is, and then you hear "Welcome to the Jungle" in the background. I mean, come on.
He's one of my favorite actors of all time. No matter how old he gets, if he's in a movie, I will go see it.
Right. So, as far as other topics goes, I want to talk to you because you've done a lot of adult con appearances, and I've seen some on YouTube. And I gotta say, once again, you look like you're having fun. You're just lively and you're smiling. Talk about those experiences, because that's one of the big ones in the adult industry. Talk about adult con.
Oh boy. Oh, where do I start with that? Whenever I'm doing an adult con, and it's usually the ones here in Las Vegas, LA, I was invited to the Jersey one a couple of times, but I couldn't make it. My father's funeral was at that time, or something like that happened. Someone in my family died. I have so much fun. I have to actively control myself, because it makes me remember the time and the way that I felt when I was a dancer, watching people get aroused, and then not saying no to fucking everything that walks. So I have to keep myself in check when I'm around fans like that. It's hard. It's really hard, because they're all so happy to see me, and I'm happy to see them back. And security's around, so it's not like I can just reach into somebody's pants and grab their junk, because I'll get in trouble for that, and I'm happy for that. So I'm going to chill.
And the thing is, too, I also want to talk about, you've worked with so many, like I said, male, female, transgendered stars, just everybody in the adult industry, Alura. One in particular that I did write down was Christian XXX, because he's another one that's just, he's done well for himself in the adult industry. What was it like working with Christian, doing a couple scenes with him?
I have worked with Christian and continue to work with Christian. I've worked with him many times, countless times. Christian XXX is a personal friend of mine, as we've become friends over the years, of course. I mean, we work together on camera well, but we're also really good friends. I respect the hell out of him. He is one of the smartest, business-savvy people I've ever met in the industry. He's extremely intelligent. He's very highly educated, and he has an intolerance for stupidity, which I respect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've always respected that guy, as I know people say what they will, because, he's worked with also transgenders as well. But you know what it is, too? Like I said, it goes back to the industry. I mean, he does transgender. He works with women, females, transgender. He does what he does. He's very smart, and the dude makes a lot of money. He does very well for himself. And again, it all goes back to happiness. If you're happy doing what you're doing, you know what? Just keep doing it. Keep on keeping on.
Christian has a very finely tuned aptitude for knowing what an audience wants. He also knows what will sell and what will not go over well with fans. Christian's ability to be open-minded cross over his own personal sexual preferences in order to deliver this fantastic entertainment. I can't say enough good things about the guy.
I have to ask you, as far as the women's scene and the transgender scene, who you've also done scenes with, are there any particular out of your favorites that you've had the chance to work with?
My favorite trans women?
Or just in general, as far as female and transgender, as far, because, we talk about Christian as far as the male side of things. As far as the women in a transgender go, Laura, who are some of your favorites that you had the chance to work with?
Every single TS I've ever worked with, I've been absolutely gaga over because there are so few in the industry. It is really hard to book one for a scene because there's such high demand. I have a few favorites, yeah. Oh my gosh, where do I start? Natalie Moore. I can't get enough of her. I love her. Foxy, of course. She's amazing. And Jessie Dubai, I love her too. Oh hell! Of course, my very, very favorite Asian princess. I love her so much. Venus Lux. She is a truly bisexual transgender woman. A lot of trans women prefer men, and that's okay. But they will work with women because that's what the script requires. But Venus Lux is truly bisexual. I love that about her, and so is Natalie Moore. I love that about her. Not Mars, excuse me, Natalie Mars. I apologize, I don't know why. I'm thinking Carmen Moore. She's also one of my favorite trans women.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have to ask you this as well, because AVN Awards, MILF of the Year nomination, that's a huge honor for you. And like I said, I voted. Please, that's overwhelming. How are you feeling about that? I mean, did you ever think that you would be nominated for MILF of the Year?
No, not a chance. No, never. Now I'm going to explain to you why.
Okay, go ahead.
I never, ever thought I was ever going to get nominated. I mean, let alone have fans have such an uprising of support for this. That completely blew my mind. I still expect to wake up and find out I've been in a coma for the last 10 years. It's like General Hospital episode from the 70s or whatever. But no, because my body's not physically perfect. And it blows my mind that is totally okay with people. It blows my mind. Not one person who has ever been nominated has ever had a scar from hip to hip, has ever had, childbirth marks on their stomach, has ever had, extra weight on them. I wasn't nominated in the BBW category. That's where I thought I would fit better, but BBW category nominated me for a different award show. But then the BBW, God bless them, they were rightfully like, she's not a BBW, why is she here? To be nominated as MILF of the Year, I was kind of like, no way, are you guys serious? You're fucking with me, right? Oh man, I still can't get over that. Like, it's tripping me out.
It's well deserved. I'll say that right now. It's well deserved. I mean, you're good at your craft.
Thank you. Really, and I gotta tell you, my agent, I work with OT Modeling. They've really been phenomenal. I mean, there's been a lot of times when I definitely did not deserve the work that I was getting because I let myself go. I suffered a pretty devastating depression for quite some time, and it was about 2 years of my life when I just wasn't myself. And that's okay. Some people go through it, some people don't. I did. I got my shit together. I'm back. I'm back to what I was before that happened. But even while I was much larger than I am and was before that, they were still really good to me, and they still, they still encouraged me to do the best that I could do, and they still got me work. So they're awesome.
And I think it's so funny, Laura, because you talk about getting to the great shape that you're in. I mean, you think you posted on Twitter, you were talking about doing like mile run, and then you put like, you posted a photo of like your legs, and just you were like exhausted after that. I mean, you're just killing it. You're just doing like, what was it, like a 5 mile run you did, or you just? I remember saying on Twitter, you were talking about like running, and then you posted a photo of just like how you were sore and stuff. I mean, you're just getting back into that shape.
Oh my God! I actually did a 30K.
Oh man!
On Monday. And then yesterday I did a 5K to the pub where I was watching the football at the playoff game. Dude, my foot was just like, Bitch, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Don't let me eat the carbs. And I'm like, don't tell me to eat carbs. I have to eat cucumbers and tuna fish. And you can all go to hell. I want some coffee.
Oh man, and that football game was, I mean, were you more of a Chiefs? I forgot. Are you more of a Chiefs fan or more of a Titans? Because for me, I know my dad was going for the Chiefs, but I said, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, so it's 22-21, and I'm like, you do realize that they're probably going to win, right? And he's like, yeah. And I just saw the anguish on his face because my dad wanted the Chiefs to win, and I'm like, it's probably going to be the Titans. And I was like, yeah. Oh, but yeah, the Titans go.
That was heartbreaking. That was positively heartbreaking. And you know what? The game that was after that was even more painful to watch. Oh man! Oh, the Saints game. Oh God! I felt bad for people watching that game. Oh. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, through and through. Hate me if you want to. I don't care. I've been a Philly fan since before I came out of my father's nut.
I'm not hating on that. The Philadelphia Eagles are a great team. They're a great team. They're awesome.
Yeah. Their fans are awesome. The team is great recently with the exit of Chip Kelly. Don't get me started about that man. Oh, my God. Thank God he's not coaching the NFL football anymore because he needs to go, teach kindergarten, finger painting or something. He needs to get out of football altogether.
Exactly. Oh, man. And I've seen my buddy Steve. Shout out to my boy Steve Nicoforo. I've been to many Islanders games with him out here in New York, and I've seen that man be happy and suffer and get anguish because of the Islanders. And, I mean, very passionate fans group here on Long Island. And, I mean, I've seen the Mets because my dude's a Met fan, and I've seen the anguish on that as well. Yes. So, and I mean, the great teams, but yeah, I've seen the struggle with sports fans. And don't get me wrong, when as far as an MMA and wrestling fans go, here's the thing: there's always that dichotomy where everybody chooses one over the other. Me, I was an MMA fan. I love me some Ronda Rousey. I love me some Chuck Liddell. I love when Ken Shamrock made the transition from MMA to wrestling in UFC.
Yeah.
Dan Severn was another one. I mean, we saw Tank Abbott, who was great in there, and then he went to WCW towards the end of that run. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them. Ronda Rousey's another one that we mentioned. Shayna Baszler, Heidi. I mean, she's tremendous. There's a lot of great athletes in MMA and wrestling. So I'm always like, you know what? I'll watch them both. I don't pick either one because both sports are just, there's a lot of dedication in it. And I know people will say what they want to say, but both of them are just wow.
I did some sportscasting for NBC Sports, affiliate on the East Coast in Maryland. And I got to interview a lot of the MMA fighters, the UFC people. The shit that they have to go through just to get to the point where people know who they are, it would blow the minds of the people that watch them while they're on TV. Like, they don't make dick for money. They suffer, they sacrifice, they toil. Their families suffer and sacrifice and toil with them. And all this while, they're not making enough money to pay their bills just for the glimmer of a hope to get to the point that these few do. So for anybody to criticize anyone winning or losing a fight, that's just unkind.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, that I enjoy as well, because, I mean, all right, people shit on it because it was like a 30-second fight. It was Mickey Gall versus former WWE superstar Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk. So he lost. I know it was a quick fight. But you gotta commend the man for getting in there. That's all I gotta say. The man got in there.
Yeah, would you want to get knocked in the head by a guy who does it for a living and will probably do so for many more years? No, I wouldn't want somebody hit me in the face.
And I think the latest transition from MMA to wrestling, a lot of people talk about it, is the Beast himself, Mr. Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock Lesnar came in there. He had that brief, when he debuted, he had that loss to Frank Mir. But then the man's going against guys like Couture and just killing it. And now he's back in the wrestling game. He's their Universal Champion. I mean, the dude, good.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I have so much passion about the subject that you're producing right now. Brock Lesnar. I saw that first fight of his, and I saw all the hype and all the PR that went into marketing his first bout. And I saw the loss, and I'm like, you know what, Brock Lesnar, he's an amazing performer. He's an exceptional athlete. He went from years of doing wrestling entertainment into a no-shit martial arts, situation. It's a totally different world. What did people expect? The guy's a fiercely strong, competitive athlete, but these other people, they're not entertainers. They're fighters. So from him to go to from wrestling entertainment to a martial arts endeavor. It's just, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why do we do that? Just stick to what you're good at, man. People love you in the wrestling ring.
I think here's the thing, because I remember this because I was actually at his last match, his first run. This was in 2004. So wrestling fans, if you remember Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20, and what was
so hot.
So they did that match, and everybody in New York at Madison Square Garden, a young 12-year-old Mike Larkin was in the crowd listening to You Sold Out and Boring, and the only person that they cheered in the ring was the referee, who was none other than WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Austin gave them both stunners at the end of the match. So Brock Lesnar was going to try NFL, and he tried for the Minnesota Vikings. He didn't make the cut. Then Brock Lesnar went over to wrestle in Japan for IWGP and New Japan and all that, and he had some success over in Japan. Then he comes back, does the MMA thing, and then in 2012 he goes back to WWE, and he's been, on and off doing his part-time appearances. But the man, he started as an NCAA champion, and he was 25, one of the youngest wrestling champions out there. I mean, the dude is just, wow, he's a beast.
I see a great future for someone who is supported by an organization who also has talent.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that the moment I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin and the character, because he's in the industry for a long time before they gave him a spotlight. And this guy, this 25-year-old you're talking about, he's going to go places. Either that or he's going to get sick of it. Now, with Brock Lesnar, with all of the switching around that he does, maybe he just hasn't found what works for him and his lifestyle and his family and his home, Good for him. Do you. People love you when you're there. They'll love you when you come back. Take your time. Do what makes you happy. So I want to hear more about this 25-year-old. I don't know, is he boxing? What's going on?
So the 25 that I actually mentioned was Brock Lesnar, because he was actually, when he was 25, Brock Lesnar was the youngest WWE champion. He actually beat Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at SummerSlam 02 in Nassau Coliseum. That was when he became the youngest WWE champion. This was when The Rock was actually going to film The Rundown, which was him, Rosario Dawson.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were mentioning that there's somebody new. I'm like, wow, where's this hot new piece of ass that I need to pay attention to?
Well,
Brock Lesnar's always been amazing, but no one's supposed to have been
Well, I'll say right now, if you want to talk young ones, Mickey Gall is another one that's young. He's like my age. He's like 25 and he's a killer. The one that fought CM Punk. That's one that you got to look out for.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for that. I'll give you that when we're done talking.
All right. Oh man, Alura, this has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and I'll say this right now before we do close out. I do have a couple more questions, but I'd love to have you back on in the future. This has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today.
Totally, I would love to. If my schedule, if I'm not in the middle of creating some sloppy biohazard, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, I gotta ask you. I mean, you do a lot of great photo shoots. And there's a lot that has to do with the U.S. military. I mean, shout out to the men and women that put their bodies on the line and just fight for our freedom. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the military. Talk about the military and doing all. I mean, you do great photo shoots. I mean, just talk about your love and your passion for the U.S. military.
It's not just for the U.S. military. It's for all government uniformed personnel, people that basically give up their ability to live a different lifestyle for public service. The U.S. military is the easiest one for the public to recognize because they're, front and center, especially during times of conflict and, world concerns with overseas issues. However, let's not forget, our policemen, yes, our firemen, paramedics, our teachers, our government workers, people who work on the roads. These people all work for the government. The military is the easiest one to address because there are so many more of them. However, there are other people in uniform who also deserve the same amount of love and respect because their job is just as dangerous, just in a different way. Now, with the military, I have a special love for the military, men and women, no matter whether they watch porn or they don't, because they go through it every single day. Just signing that contract makes them a target, makes their families targets. They give up their freedom to live life as everyone else would so they can do a job that nobody else wants to. And, I will always be grateful every day that I wake up in my bed, warm, safe, and happy because these people go to work every day.
Exactly. And it also holds a special place in my heart as well because my grandfather, again, God rest his soul, he was actually in the military around the time when Elvis Presley was actually in the military for a little bit. Yes.
Wow.
My Uncle Wesley, shout out to him in the Carolinas. There, was actually in the Korean War and fought for us. I mean, so the military always, as well, has a special place in my heart. And then when you mentioned police officers, my cousin Danny and his son were both police officers. And I mean, he protect to serve. That's what you got to do.
You know, oh gosh, you know, and just to put things into perspective, these people, the military men and women, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, teachers, you know, other government servants, you know, public servants, these people see things and they deal with things that the public never know about, and it haunts them. So why not give them a little extra love and a little extra respect to kind of help them get through the next day that they have to do this shit that nobody ever hears about?
Exactly. Absolutely. We mentioned the photo shoots as well, Laura. I have to ask. We talk about, favorite stars, and we talked about, the scenes that you've done. Are there any particular favorite photo shoots that you've done? Because, like I said, every one that you've done, you've looked absolutely immaculate and great. But is there any particular?
Oh.
Absolutely. Is there any photo shoots that really stuck out to you that were some of your favorites to shoot?
Yes, very recently. Joni Darko just came out with, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, like, am I allowed to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jenny Darko Studios just came out with, it's called Junk Fucker 7. And I was really surprised that I was cast to do this DVD with him and the others. I never thought that would happen day in my life, and it was a dream come true. Jenny Darko's photographic skill it's just perfect. There's nothing wrong with anything this man has done on a camera, with his lights, his filters, his positioning, his direct, everything was immaculate. And I have never seen an image of myself look so beautiful than I did in that production. I'm still beside myself. And then I did one with Damien Kane here in Las Vegas. He does I produce a lot of my own content. He does a lot of my photography. And since I got myself back into shape, I found new wardrobe, and he took some photos recently that folks can see on my Instagram and, on my Twitter and my other pages as well. But they're really, really gorgeous. So I've been very, very lucky, very fortunate to be surrounded by such skilled professionals of, camera work.
I have to ask you as well, you've done the adult industry since, like you mentioned, 2011, and just on your vet. So if there's any guy or gal that want to get into the adult industry, do you have any advice for any of them that want to pursue a career in the adult industry?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Stay away from drugs. And I'm not, there's a stereotype that people think we're all hopped up on crack, coke, heroin, whatever it is. A lot of these people get into drugs, like they do. And that's not a stereotype if it's the reality of the situation. Stay away from drugs. Pay attention to your money. Learn to save your money. Get an agent who is reputable, who's not going to fuck you over and use you up and throw you away. So save your money, stay away from drugs, and get a good agent. That, and do what makes you happy. The most effective advice I ever got was from Christian Triple S. And he told me at the very beginning of my career, he said, do what makes you happy on camera, because you'll stay in the industry longer and your fans will be happier, because the fans can tell when someone's doing something they don't want to do. That's what I say to new stars. And don't be dicks.
Don't be
Stay humble. Don't turn into an asshole because you do 2 or 3 scenes and think you're hot shit. Be nice to your co-stars and colleagues. Treat people with respect.
And it's so funny that you bring that up, is because I forgot there was a Twitter exchange. So I log into my Twitter, and I see, because I follow you on Twitter, and I check out, what you have as far as upcoming events or just what you're doing, Alura. So there's a thing that pops up. You're welcome. So what pops up in my notifications is, I think there was this dude saying something about women and in the kitchen and some shit, and he was just being disrespectful. And I'm like, yeah, that's really. I'm like, yeah, that's really gonna get you far, dude. I think I just had to comment on that because it just irritated me.
He you remember my response to it?
I think so. I think. Oh my God! If you please just reiterate, because I remember it was like very clever and it was like a very like wham. You had like you got him. So just please go ahead.
So when I engage the public hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. I talk to as many people as my time will allow because, they take the time to give me attention. I want to give them that same courtesy if I'm capable. So that includes a lot of different types of personalities. Now, someone will see a strong, independent, kind female and think that makes her a perfect submissive to conquer, right? Mm-hmm. So this particular individual contacted me in a condescending manner. I don't have that shit. I don't have that shit. I'm not going to be an asshole to anybody unless they absolutely deserved it. And I conducted myself in a way which allowed this person to know that no matter how badass he thought he was not going to put me in my place. He was not going to talk to me like a dog because his attitude made him far more unattractive to me than anybody that would have a positive attitude with any kind of physical flaw. A negative attitude to me is automatically says, scumbag, do not fuck. And I allowed him to understand that in the most elegant, feminine way.
Exactly. But yeah, it was a great response. And another thing too is I always talk about, I mean, if you want to talk about the ultimate heel, I used to love him back in the day because he was a great actor. He's no longer with us. One Latka himself, Mr. Andy Kaufman. So Andy Kaufman, back in the day, he was actually the he was the intergender champion of the world. He fought a lot of women. And he actually was a great heel. He would say stuff like, get them back in the kitchen, know their place. And he was just a great heel at what he did, playing the character. And he actually had everybody remembers the infamous thing with him and Jerry the King Lawler on David Letterman, where he threw coffee at him. And then, when Jerry Lawler gave him the pile driver in Memphis. So that always stood out with me when I think of, like, ultimate heels. And as far as intergender going between males and females in, like, the fighting world. So I thought that was always cool back in the 80s.
That's a trip. Jerry the King Lawler is a distant cousin of mine.
Is he? Oh.
We're genuinely related. Yes, we are. My father told me before he passed away, and I thought that was the trippiest thing.
Tremendous.
I remember Andy Kaufman. He was one of my favorites because he was fun to watch.
You want to know something funny? Because Jerry the King Lawler was in Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey when Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman, and he said it would be like so funny because Jim Carrey, when he was on the set, it was so weird because he would really get into the role of being Andy Kaufman. It was just so funny. He really took that one seriously.
I think it's a certain sickness that, if you're born and bred out of the East Coast, you just know how to get under people's skin and stay there, right?
Exactly. I know. Oh, my God. Well, Alura, again, before we close out, I'm just going to say this again. Again, absolute pleasure. I really look forward to having you back on again in the future. I will definitely be in touch with you. So if you would please, the forum is yours. Plug your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your social media. The floor is yours.
Okay. Google that shit. No, I'm kidding. I genuinely, fans, please listen, I do not have a Facebook page for professional reasons. There are so many counterfeit Facebook pages out there. Please feel free to enjoy them, but my Facebook page is for my family and friends only. However, you can find me on Instagram, Fan Central, OnlyFans, Twitter. Oh, holy hell, Snapchat. I'm on all that shit. If it's not a fan base, I'm on it. However, if you have any questions about the authenticity, you can always reach me at my Twitter or my Instagram. It's at Alura Jenson. That's all you have to know. It says Alura TNT Jenson, or you can email me at alurajenson@gmail.com.
I gotta say also one thing really quickly. I love the TNT moniker in that, by the way. That cracked me up. I love the TNT moniker.
There's a story behind that.
Go ahead.
And it's an uplifting story. I was just at the beginning of healing from that terrible, devastating depression. Something really bad happened in my life. And I was just starting to get my feet on the ground, and someone I idolized said something really nice to me and said, I used the nickname TNT when describing the energy I was putting into putting my life back together. And I adopted it as a constant reminder to stay that motivated, to always never go back to that place. And that was Shane Diesel. I'll remember it my whole life.
Wow. That's really uplifting, and I'm glad to see you, where you are right now. And truly, with the utmost sincerity and respect, I can say I really wish you nothing but the best going forward and continued success as well.
Oh man, I'm going to go fuck people's lives up by introducing them to new sexiness that they never thought was possible.
So, Alura, any final words for the fans?
I appreciate each and every one of them. I do. I love every one of my fans, and I try my damnedest to give them exactly what they need in order to be happy in the privacy of their own comfort. And I'm going to continue to advancing forward in my own sexuality to provide new ideas for other people to enjoy. And I appreciate that they stayed with me this long, and I hope to be with them much longer.
And I know we're all happy to support. And Alura, again, thank you so much for your time. I will definitely be back in touch with you. And guys, this is going to end another interview. I have others, as well as Alura in the adult industry, coming on very soon. I've been in touch with Rebecca Bardot, AVN Hall of Famer, and Erica Lockett, who is in the adult industry. You're going to get some more wrestlers as well, and a lot more. So I'd say stay tuned to the S&M Show Podcast Network. This interview will be up very, very soon. I hope you guys enjoy it. And Alura, once more, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. And I love your show. I watch it all the way from over here in Las Vegas. And I'm going to be listening to the interview too. So, y'all have a great day.
Alrighty. Bye, everybody. Talk to you soon.